Why she's ignoring you isn't the real issue. How you react is. Because if her silence can shake you, then she owns you. If you pause your whole life waiting on a text that never comes, if you find yourself checking your phone more than your purpose, if one unread message makes you feel like you're not enough, then you're not living. You're chasing ghosts. And too many people are losing themselves just to stay in someone else's life. You're not here to be one of them. You're here to wake up and walk away stronger. Comment, I choose strength, if you're ready to take back control. Number 1, do not chase. You're not losing her. You're losing your grip on yourself, and it shows every time you reach out again, hoping her silence changes into affection that never existed in the first place, and deep down you know it. But you convince yourself that maybe, just maybe, if you say the right thing or send the perfect message, you'll somehow change her mind. But all you're doing is dragging your pride through the mud for someone who already decided not to value it, because people rarely forget how you made them feel, but they quickly forget your worth when you start giving it for free. And the reason she can ignore you so easily is because you've shown her that her attention is the prize, and your value depends on her recognition. And that right there is your biggest mistake. She's not the standard. She's not the center. You are. And the second you make anyone else the center of your decisions, your emotions, and your actions, you've already surrendered the throne of your life to someone who hasn't earned it. And this is where most people fall apart. Not because of rejection, but because of the story they build around it, imagining they weren't enough, when in reality they gave too much too early to someone who never saw their value in the first place. And you know exactly what that looks like. Waiting for her reply, checking if she saw your message, seeing her active on socials but ignoring you, asking yourself if you said something wrong, retracing conversations in your mind like a detective chasing clues in a crime that never happened, hoping to crack a code that doesn't exist. And while you're drowning in thoughts, she's not even thinking about you, because attention breeds comfort, and comfort breeds entitlement, and that's exactly what she's sitting in, knowing you'll keep reaching out, knowing you'll stay hooked, knowing you're too scared to walk away, and that knowledge gives her more control over your emotions than you have yourself, and that's why you feel stuck. Not because she's special, but because you've allowed your own sense of peace to depend on her response. And this is where everything starts to change. Not when she replies, not when she comes back, but when you wake up and realize that chasing someone who's walking away from you is the fastest way to lose yourself completely. Because every time you chase, you reinforce the message that they're above you, that they get to decide if you're worthy, and that your time, attention, and energy are nothing more than negotiable tokens in someone else's game, and you've played that game long enough to know it never ends well. You always lose, and even if they respond, it's out of boredom, not respect, and you'll feel it in the way the conversation goes cold again, in the way they take hours to reply, in the way your excitement dies a little more every time they treat you like a backup plan. And the reason it hurts so much is because deep down, you know you deserve more, but you're too afraid to walk away from what you've attached your identity to, and that fear is the real prison. Not her silence, not her rejection, but your belief that she has something you need to feel whole, and the only way out of that prison is to break the cycle completely, to decide right now that you're done waiting, done chasing, done proving your worth to people who can't see it, done explaining your intentions to people who don't care, done bending over backwards for temporary attention. And that decision doesn't come with closure. It doesn't come with an apology or understanding. It comes with a deep, quiet resolve that says, I'm no longer available for people who treat me like an option. And that's what Stoicism teaches. Not to be cold, but to control what you give your energy to. Not to be passive, but to take power over your reactions. And when you stop chasing, you begin to rebuild what they ignored. The parts of you that you put on hold for their approval. The goals you postponed while waiting for a message. the passions you abandoned while scrolling their stories, the confidence that shrunk every time they left you on read, and you rebuild it by redirecting every ounce of that wasted attention into your purpose, into your fitness, into your finances, into your peace, into your silence. Not the kind that begs for her to notice, but the kind that speaks for itself, that says you're too busy growing to entertain anyone who's unsure, too focused to follow breadcrumbs, too high value to beg. And when you live that way, you change not only how people see you, but how you see yourself. Because confidence doesn't come from being chosen, it comes from choosing yourself over and over again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because the ones who stop chasing aren't heartless. They're focused, they're grounded. They're done proving things to people who never deserved to see their heart in the first place. And the truth is, the most dangerous man is the one who doesn't chase, not because he's playing games, but because he's mastered himself so fully that he no longer needs approval to feel complete. And that man, he doesn't wait on texts, he doesn't argue to be understood, he doesn't beg to be kept, he simply walks, and the path he walks becomes his empire, not built on attention, but on action, not on validation, but on value, not on love from others, but on the love he's rebuilt within, brick by brick, goal by goal, habit by habit, until there's nothing left to prove, only things to build, only peace to protect, only standards to maintain. And if she doesn't see it, that's fine. You're not here to be seen by everyone. You're here to see yourself clearly enough to stop chasing people who don't even look back. And what's left is someone who no longer trades peace for company, who no longer explains boundaries to people who benefited from crossing them, who no longer keeps doors open for people who walked out without looking back. And if you're ready to lock in that level of clarity, the Stoic relationship blueprint is the tool you've been missing. This isn't just a book, it's a manual for self-mastery, a sharp guide filled with timeless Stoic principles, crafted specifically for men navigating the emotional chaos of modern relationships. And now that it's available as an audiobook, there's no excuse to wait. You can listen to it while walking, training, driving, or clearing your head. And each chapter will pull you deeper into the version of yourself that no longer begs, no longer breaks, and no longer bends for anyone who doesn't see your worth. It's a blueprint you'll return to for life, always accessible, always yours. Because when the emotions get loud and the world gets confusing, this is the knowledge that brings you back to center. Click the link in the comments and completely transform your life. Number 2, let her feel your absence. The hardest part is not that she's gone quiet, it's that you're still loud inside, asking questions she'll never answer, replaying every word you sent, analyzing what emoji you used, wondering if you were too eager or too cold, trying to decode behavior that doesn't deserve your time in the first place. And while you're caught in a mental loop, she's already on the next thing, laughing with people who aren't wondering where they stand. And the truth is that the more you try to understand why she pulled back, the deeper you lose sight of what really matters: your peace, your presence, your purpose. Because silence doesn't need an explanation, it already is one. And while you search for clarity, you don't realize you're giving her something far more valuable than words: your energy. And energy is attention, and attention is validation, and validation is power. And the more you keep her at the center of your thoughts, the more she feels in control, even if she doesn't reply, even if she forgets to respond, even if she ghosted you coldly. She still knows she's taking up space in your mind, and that's what most people want. Not connection, but control. Not presence, but power. And the moment you remove that access, everything shifts. Not because she changes, but because you do. Because the second you stop checking if she watched your story, the second you stop wondering if she's testing you, the second you stop living in her orbit, hoping she gives you attention again, that's the moment you take it all back. The attention, the control, the strength. And that's not done by texting her how you feel or demanding clarity. It's done by choosing silence, not empty silence waiting to be noticed, but powerful silence filled with growth, filled with action, filled with the discipline to rebuild the parts of you you lost while trying to win someone over who didn't even know how to value you. And that's where most people fail. They try to hurt back. They try to make her jealous. They try to post quotes and pictures to spark a reaction. But all that does is show her she still has your mind wrapped up in her absence. And that's not strength. That's dependency disguised as confidence, because real strength is being unreachable, not physically, but emotionally, being so invested in your journey that her distance doesn't create a reaction, because you're not trying to teach her a lesson, you're too focused on learning your own, and that lesson is this. Not everyone who leaves deserves to return. Not everyone who goes quiet deserves a response. And not everyone you wanted is meant to be part of the version of you that's coming, the version that doesn't panic when they pull back, that doesn't need reassurance to sleep at night, that doesn't confuse availability with value. And the only way to become that version is to let people feel the absence they created, not by closing the door on them with anger, but by closing the door gently, completely, and with peace. Because peace is the ultimate sign that someone no longer controls you, and peace is what happens when you stop needing closure from people who never gave you clarity, when you stop seeking apologies from people who knew they hurt you and chose not to care, and when you stop holding on to potential instead of patterns, because her ignoring you isn't the real insult. The real insult is what you do to yourself in response. How you put your life on hold for someone who didn't even ask you to wait, how you shrink your greatness to fit into her indifference, how you accept crumbs because you're afraid the whole cake might never come, and that fear is what keeps you trapped, not her. And it ends the moment you say, no more, not just to her, but to the version of you that allowed this cycle to continue, to the mindset that mistook attention for love, to the habit of confusing being chosen with being valued, and that new version of you. That version doesn't sit around hoping people remember what they forgot. That version wakes up and builds, trains, heals, learns, grows, works, and most importantly, disconnects. Because disconnection isn't cruelty, it's clarity. And in that clarity, you'll see things you were blind to before, like how her silence was actually a blessing, a filter, a message from life telling you she wasn't aligned with where you're going. And when you finally stop chasing, when you stop reacting, when you pull all that misplaced energy back into your goals, your fitness, your discipline, your vision, you don't just feel better, you become better, and the people who ignored you, they start to notice, not because you tried to prove something, but because you became someone unrecognizable, someone untouchable, someone they never imagined you could be, and by then it's too late. Not because you're being petty, but because the new version of you no longer fits with the energy that once confused silence for power. And the only way to become that version is to let them feel your absence, not as revenge, but as evolution, not to win them back, but to win yourself back, completely, permanently, relentlessly. Number 3. Power comes from walking away. You think staying proves you care, but staying in what's disrespectful doesn't prove love. It proves fear. Fear of being alone, fear of being forgotten, fear of not being good enough to attract better. And every time you stay where you're not valued, you prove those fears right. And while you call it patience or hope or love, it's really avoidance of the truth. And the truth is, when someone knows they can treat you as an option and still keep you close, they have no reason to change. And the longer you stick around trying to earn their respect, the more they learn to live without giving it. And this is what most people never understand. Power is not in trying harder. It's in walking away sooner. Not because you're quitting, but because you're no longer negotiating with someone who already showed you their priorities. And if you still think leaving means losing, you haven't left for the right reasons yet, because real loss is staying where you're unwanted, silencing yourself just to be tolerated, shrinking your needs to keep someone comfortable. And the power of walking away isn't in making them miss you. It's in finally choosing yourself so completely that their opinion no longer has the power to define you. And you don't walk away with noise. You don't explain. You don't prove. You don't try to spark regret, because the moment you need their reaction to validate your exit, you haven't actually left. You're just testing the door, and power begins when that door closes behind you and you keep walking, without looking back, without waiting for them to notice, because you didn't walk away for them. You walked away for the part of you that finally woke up and realized that loyalty means nothing when it's one-sided, and attention means nothing when it's transactional, and effort means nothing when it's not matched. And if that stings, good. It means you still care. And that care needs to be redirected inward, because the longer you wait for someone to respect you, the longer you delay learning how to respect yourself. And here's the part that changes everything. You don't gain strength by staying. You gain strength by letting go, by choosing peace over potential, clarity over confusion, purpose over people. And this isn't bitterness. This is growth. Because growth is learning to stop begging for love in places that feed your insecurity. Growth is no longer asking why someone lost interest, and instead asking why you're still trying to earn it. Growth is learning to walk into your future without dragging the weight of people who don't want to be there. And yes, it hurts. It hurts because you made space in your heart for someone who was just passing time. You made plans around someone who only made excuses. You built expectations based on words that never had the intention to be honored. But that pain is also the gift. It's the teacher, and when you walk away, that pain doesn't go to waste. It turns into the fuel that rebuilds you, the clarity that recalibrates your standards, the wisdom that keeps you from ever settling again. Because once you've walked away from what drained you, everything that follows has to match your healed version. And that's where you start becoming powerful. Not when you get attention, but when you no longer crave it. Not when they come back, but when you no longer care. Not when they apologize, but when you no longer need it. And that power doesn't come from rage or revenge. It comes from detachment. And detachment isn't about not feeling. It's about not allowing those feelings to dictate your direction. It's choosing to honor your value, even if others never see it. And if they do try to come back, it won't even matter. Not because you're trying to hurt them, but because the version of you they had access to no longer exists. The version that waited, overthought, stayed available, chased, tolerated. He's gone, and what's left is someone who no longer trades peace for company, who no longer explains boundaries to people who benefited from crossing them, who no longer keeps doors open for people who walked out without looking back. And if you want to feel that kind of power, the first step is simple but not easy. You stop asking what you did wrong and start asking why you let it continue. You stop trying to fix what was never yours to fix and start fixing the parts of you that allowed it. And that begins the moment you decide to walk away, not physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, completely. Number 4, shift focus back to you. You've made them the main character in a story that's supposed to be about you, and the price for that is your purpose getting buried under notifications that never come. Your goals collecting dust while you refresh conversations with people who treat you like background noise. And the harsh truth is that the more you prioritize someone who isn't thinking about you, the more invisible you become to yourself, because every minute spent waiting for them is a minute lost from becoming who you were supposed to be. And this isn't about being cold or pretending you don't care. It's about finally admitting that the attention you give is the most valuable currency you have. And you've been spending it like it's worthless, handing it over for free, hoping it'll buy you affection, when in reality it's only confirming that you don't believe your time, your energy, your mind, and your presence are worth protecting. And if you keep living like this, checking your phone every few minutes, scrolling through their social media, looking for signs that maybe they still think about you, then you're not living at all. You're existing in a loop where your happiness is determined by someone else's decision to acknowledge you. And that's the most dangerous place to be, because you can't grow there, you can't build there, you can't evolve there. All you do is wait. And while you wait, life doesn't pause. Your potential doesn't pause. Your dreams don't pause. They just pass. And if you really want to win, if you really want to feel what it's like to be respected, admired, and chosen, you have to stop looking at them and start looking in the mirror. Ask yourself why you made someone your priority when you weren't even on their list. Why you put your journey on hold for a maybe. Why you let their silence get louder than your own voice. And until you answer that honestly, nothing will change, because you're not dealing with a relationship problem. You're dealing with a self-respect problem, and the solution is to pull all that attention you've been giving away and reinvest it into you, into your health, your skills, your business, your vision, your mind. And this isn't just advice, it's survival, because the world does not slow down for the distracted, and you've been distracted for too long, trying to maintain connections that only exist when you chase. And it's time to stop asking what they're doing and start asking why you stopped doing everything that once made you feel alive. When did you stop reading? When did you stop training? When did you stop planning your future and start waiting on people to validate your present? And you tell yourself you're just being patient. But deep down, you know it's not patience, it's avoidance of the gym, of your goals, of the loneliness that creeps in when you finally let go of people who don't serve you anymore. And the only way out is through, not through them, not through fixing the relationship, but through rebuilding your focus until the only person who can disappoint you is the one in the mirror. Because once your days are packed with purpose, there's no room for begging, there's no space left for waiting. There's no time to care whether they reply, because your calendar is already filled with your mission. And that's what flips the power dynamic. Not ghosting back, not playing games, but becoming so locked in that you genuinely forget to check if they watched your story. Because you're too busy writing your own. And people feel that shift. They feel when your energy is no longer chasing them, when it's no longer available on demand. And it forces them to look at themselves. Not because you told them anything, but because you finally stopped trying to convince them of your worth and started living like someone who already knows it. And that's when they notice, not because you forced them to, but because the version of you they used to ignore is gone, and what's left is someone they can't reach, someone they no longer feel entitled to, someone who doesn't need their presence to feel whole anymore. And the beauty of this shift is that you don't need anyone to co-sign it. You don't need a round of applause. You don't need them to regret losing you. You just need to keep showing up for yourself every single day, like your life depends on it, because it does. Because all those dreams you buried under missed calls and text messages deserve to be resurrected. And every time you start to slip back into the mindset of waiting, remind yourself of the life you're missing while you do. Remind yourself that the version of you who's successful, focused, respected, admired, and fulfilled isn't spending his nights wondering why someone didn't text back. He's too busy building, too busy learning, too busy leveling up, too busy living. And that version of you, he's not far away. He's waiting on the other side of your distractions. And the only way to reach him is to stop making people your purpose and start making purpose your people. Surround yourself with actions that serve you, with routines that grow you, with environments that respect you. And once you do that long enough, you won't even have to shift focus back to you. It'll stay there, because nothing outside of you will be strong enough to pull you off track again. Number 5, become untouchable. You don't become untouchable by pretending not to care. You become untouchable by rebuilding yourself so completely that what used to break you now teaches you. What used to distract you now reveals you. And what used to consume you now fuels you. And the reason you felt weak is because you've handed people power over your peace, allowed their presence to define your value and their absence to define your mood. But the shift starts the moment you realize no one gets to regulate your self-worth unless you give them permission, and you've been giving that permission far too easily to people who can't even manage their own emotions, expecting them to be responsible with yours. And if you're still checking for a text, hoping for a comeback, waiting for signs that they still care, then you're not untouchable. You're emotionally rented, and your peace is on lease to people who never earned ownership in the first place. And what you need to understand is that the strongest version of you isn't the one that gets everyone's attention. It's the one that doesn't need it. It's not the one who knows all the answers. It's the one who doesn't get rattled by not knowing. It's not the one who is always happy. It's the one who remains steady when nothing is. And becoming that version takes sacrifice. Sacrificing the need to be liked, to be chosen, to be validated, to be understood by people who never really saw you clearly to begin with. And this is where most people break. They spend years molding themselves into something digestible for others instead of becoming something unshakable for themselves, trimming their edges, hiding their opinions, dulling their fire just to be more accepted. And in doing that, they lose their identity, and they wonder why nothing feels solid, why every connection feels temporary, and it's because they're wearing a version of themselves that doesn't even fit. But you can't be untouchable while playing roles to make others comfortable. You become untouchable when you stop needing to explain yourself. When you know that silence isn't awkward, it's powerful. When you know that rejection isn't personal, it's redirection. When you stop reacting and start responding. When you stop waiting and start creating. When your value is no longer tied to who stays or who goes, but to who you are when no one is watching. And the path to that doesn't look glamorous. It looks like discipline. It looks like getting up early when no one is clapping. It looks like pushing through workouts when no one's watching. It looks like turning down easy attention to stay committed to your purpose. It looks like building habits that compound into standards so high that anyone who doesn't bring peace, purpose, or progression doesn't even get past hello. And most people won't get that version of you. Not because you're better than them, but because you're not available for surface level anymore. Because when you become untouchable, you don't chase connection, you create alignment, and alignment never needs to beg. It never needs to explain. It simply attracts and filters at the same time. And that's why the new you won't be understood by the people who only knew the old you, the one who used to chase, who used to settle, who used to beg. And when they see that change, they'll either rise to meet it or distance themselves from it. And either way, you win, because now you're too focused on becoming unbreakable to entertain what's easily lost, too focused on inner peace to be shaken by outer drama, too focused on your direction to be confused by their indecision. And from that place you begin to attract differently, think differently, move differently. You stop tolerating disrespect in silence. You stop explaining why your standards exist. You stop entertaining conversations that don't edify your mission. And the best part is that the more untouchable you become, the less you need to say. Because your presence alone carries weight. Your discipline speaks before your words do. Your lifestyle becomes louder than any argument you could make. And the people who used to overlook you now look at you and wonder what changed. And the truth is, you didn't change to get noticed. You changed because staying the same was killing you, because you were tired of betraying yourself just to be tolerated, because you were done accepting attention as a substitute for effort, and now the new you doesn't get attached to potential. You watch actions, not promises. You value time, not convenience. You respond with clarity, not emotion. And that version of you, the untouchable one, isn't concerned with proving anything to anyone. Because the only validation that matters now is the one that comes from your own reflection, the one you've earned through sweat, through isolation, through growth, through letting go of who you thought you had to be to become who you were born to be. and you'll know you've become that version when peace is your default, when silence feels better than chasing, when progress feels better than being wanted, when self-control feels better than being right, when solitude feels better than being surrounded by noise. And if you're not there yet, keep going, because every rep you push through, every book you finish, every distraction you say no to, every night you choose work over comfort, every morning you get up when no one's looking, it all adds up. It all becomes the layers of the version of you that nobody can touch. Not because you're perfect, but because you're principled, and principles can't be manipulated, they can't be seduced, they can't be guilt-tripped. They either align or they don't, and if someone doesn't align, they don't get access. Simple. And the longer you live by that, the stronger you become, until you realize that the greatest revenge is never proving them wrong. It's becoming so right within yourself that they don't even get a response, because you're already too far ahead to look back, too full to be chasing empty, too committed to your own journey to detour for someone who couldn't even stay consistent. And when you reach that point, you've become what they feared. Unreachable, unshakable, untouchable. If you're tired of giving everything and getting nothing, if you're done letting people play with your value while you silently shrink yourself just to be kept around, then now is the time to reclaim your power. Society wants you weak, distracted, emotionally dependent, always chasing, never leading. It doesn't want you thinking clearly, living purposefully, or walking away with strength. That's exactly why the Stoic relationship blueprint exists, a brutally honest, life-shifting guide for men filled with timeless Stoic principles that will tear the blindfold off and show you how to stop chasing, start building, and never get played again. And now, it's in audiobook form, so you can listen while you walk, train, grind, or reset your focus. No excuses, no waiting, just wisdom that sticks with you forever, because once you own it, it's yours for life. It's linked in the comments. Hit like if this message shook something in you. Subscribe if you believe more men deserve to hear the truth. And comment, "I take back control," if you're ready to grab the book and never be the same again.